Alrighty, gamers, welcome into Retro Time. I'm Nosaj Time, and we're gonna get into some of today's gaming news. I don't have very much to talk about right now, so let's just get into it right now. Alright, so, what is today? Let's see what today is. Today is Thursday, okay. So, the gaming news hasn't been as big this week, and I think it's because we're heading into the holidays. Alright, I think we're gonna see things slow down a slight bit and then pick up right before the new year again, or in between Christmas. Couple like I don't know. I just have a strong feeling about this. Not saying I'm right. This is just how I feel and the way everything's looking. So, all right. All right. Congregate Digital Bros join the wave of video games industry layoff. Jesus. Alright, Congregate Digital Bros cut jobs in a growing wave of video game industry layoffs. This is going. This is getting bad, and it's the thing about it is this is all going on near like the holidays, so we're seeing a lot of people just lose their jobs. I'm gonna say this. Um, the reason YouTube and all that took off back then when the pandemic hit is because everybody kind of got laid off from their jobs. Everybody wasn't working as much. I really wish I would have started back before the back before COVID hit. Because I would have done well by now, but like before COVID hit, nobody was really doing this, and the people that were doing it, they'd been doing it for like a long, long time. So I think I would have been better off with it if things would have went like that for me. But I didn't think about it back then. Unfortunately, I didn't even think of YouTube. Didn't even come into my mind. YouTube streaming never came into my mind. I was doing it here and there, but it's like it wasn't streaming to a big community of people, and it really just said a lot about about my line of thinking that back then. I'm sure if back then, if I would have started this earlier, I would have done extremely well. Alright, the video game industry string of layoffs continues. Digital Bros Entertainment and Congregate have both announced job cuts. Digital Bros, which owns publisher 505 Games and other studios, is laying off 30% of its workforce, roughly 130 people, as part of an organization review it announced Tuesday. The job losses were largely impact Digital Bros Studio, according to the new release. Beyond 505 Games, Digital Bros Entertainment owns a DR studio, Tyria, for mobile and console, Kunos, Simulation, I don't know, uh, Assetto Corsa, Infinity Plus 2, Puzzle Quest 3, Supernova Games, Nesting Games, Event Garden, Last Day of June, and Indie Game Studios, Crime Boss, Rocket City. Are those the businesses that let go? Or the games? Congregate Online gaming portal and publisher has cut more than a dozen jobs across several departures. Congregate has not responded to the Polygon's request for comment. The layoff has spanned multiple departments, including arts, VFX, marketing, community management, and production. It's been a challenging few years for Congregate, which made a name for itself in early 2000s as the online portal for Flash games when Adobe dropped Flash support for good in 2020, Congregate had to shift towards preserving the Flash games. I remember those. In July 2020, Congregate announced it was no longer accepting user-created games as it moved towards its own internal development at the time. It laid off several people to perhaps the company. One person laid off by Congregate told Polygon it came as a total surprise. 3 video game studios have laid off workers in as many days, Amazon Gaming Division announced. Layoffs on Monday, more than 180 people have been cut from Amazon's Crown Channel and game growth programs as the company refocuses on Prime Gaming, according to a staff memo sent by Amazon Game Vice President Christopher Hartman. Humble Games, which publishes video games like Coral Island and Minikio Night Market, has also laid off an unknown number of staffers this week. It confirmed to GLHF over the past year more than 6,000 people have been laid off in the video game industry, according to a layoff tracking website. That is rough. And the big problem is there's a bigger problem this, and what has caused this is a couple of things. The COVID, inflation. We're seeing a lot of this be caused by some things the government has done to us, and it's a problem. Okay, so we have sacrificed a lot of our stuff due to even sending money over to help a war. All right. Why are we doing that? Why are we sending money to people help fight wars when clearly there's a lot of problems going on here in this country? How are you planning on saving those people if you might not even get anything out of it? This is why I literally talk about wanting to, this is why I literally say the country is ass backwards sometimes, because we don't know what we're doing at times, and we sit there and we continue to do this stuff where we spend money, and then people are getting laid off from their jobs, like these people doing video games. We ended up here solely because we were dumbasses. America has a bunch of people in office that are just dumbasses right now. And it doesn't get any better. It declined back in 2018, I think. It declined. So everything, I don't really care who's in office, because at the end of the day, I don't vote. I just don't vote. But the people in office, besides president, who help make the decisions, they're pretty fucking dumb people. All right. What are you talking about? The reviews weren't that high. Alright, Super Mario RPG reviews make it one of 2023's highest rated video games. Alright. The reviews are in for Nintendo Super Mario RPG Remake, establishing the game as yet another hit for the Switch, and one of 2023's highest rated new games releases. Fans have been calling for Super Mario RPG Remake for years. But it always seemed like a pipe dream. That's what made Super Mario RPG announcement such a shock at the June Nintendo Direct. After the Super Mario RPG Remake was announced, fans praised the game's update, graphics, and new features, but there was some concern that it wouldn't be faithful to the original. After all, the original Super Mario RPG featured some Square Enix owned Final Fantasy elements, others were concerned that the cameos of other Nintendo characters would be cut out of the final product. It was teased that all of this would remain intact, and it seems that fans had nothing to worry about, as Super Mario RPG is knocking it out of the park with its review scores. That's not high, okay? People were expecting it to be a pretty high review score, considering the fact that, Nintendo has had this like really, really good wave of games come out in the 90s, okay? Super Mario RPG is now dropped down to 84, which means it's on Pikmin's level, which is not really an insult, but it's still at this point, like you can't really like state it as one of the most highest rated games. I don't understand why they're saying that here. But the way these people do things is they do them in a manner that just really, really throws me for a loop sometimes, because I've seen this numerous times throughout the year where games will come out and it'll be like, this is the highest rated game of the year. And then I look into the article deeper and it's like, this is the new highest rated game of the year. So what they're doing is, I guess they're marking down each game as they come out as like, well, it rated pretty high. So we're gonna put it as a new high rated game of the year. I don't understand the thinking behind it, but hey, 84 is pretty high. You can't really complain about it. It could have been higher. I don't know what's going on with this. But I find it weird that people aren't liking this remake. Like, I find it bizarre how people aren't liking this remake as much, because Super Mario has had a good run. But for some reason, this game right here, I don't know. I just don't get it. Super Mario RPG has an overall 84 rating on average aggregate site OpenCritic, with critics praising the game for bringing a classic SNES RPG to the modern era. Some critics have taken issue with Super Mario RPG not changing enough from the original game, but most seem happy that the game has remained true to its roots. Those that have already played the SNES original extensively may find that the Super Mario RPG remake is too similar, but those that have yet to play the game should have a great time, according to reviewers. Anyway, alright, so it got a 98 on a critic recommend though. Super Mario RPG earning a 84 overall rating makes it one of 2023's highest rated games. Nintendo has released multiple games this year that have ranked high, with Super Mario Bros. RPG joining the likes of Pikmin 4, Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, and Super Mario Bros. Wonder. They also forgot Metroid Prime Remastered. Nintendo's new games for 2023 have been receiving industry-wide recognition, with both Tears of the Kingdom and Super Mario Bros. Wonder nominated for Game of the Year at the Game Awards 2023. Unfortunately, Super Mario RPG is releasing after the award cutoff date, meaning that it wasn't eligible for the category, considering its high review score on. One has to imagine that Super Mario RPG would potentially been nominated for Role-Playing Game of the Year, or maybe received a nod for its soundtrack. While the game can't be nominated this year, at this year's event, it could potentially be showcased at next year's Game Awards 2024. So that's the thing about the Game Awards, is like you can't really like draw it to a close, and the cutoff date is like in a weird position. It's like 2 months before the year ends, so like it's just weird how like this all plays out. I think what should happen, instead of it being Game of the Year, like I think there should be award shows, um, like just the video game awards, not the. Well, actually, that's pretty much saying the same thing. But they should name it something else that, should. They should do a video game award show every, like, 6 months to, like, do a half of the year and half of the year. So that way we don't forget what came out. Because normally, by the end of the year, you have one too many games out to be looking at and putting into these award shows. Like, I think Jeff Keighley should run 2 of these per year, so that way he can review and they can actually give awards out to these games halfway through the year, because 6 months in, you have like tons of games out, and the movie industry isn't even putting out movies the way the video game industry is right now. Like, and you have so many different varieties of games right now. Like, you have the indie games, you have the AAA games, you have the average, like, you have the average games, like, and it's just amazing to see that we have so many varieties right now, that there's a big mix and a massive variety of games that came out. Like, and there's games that, like, probably would have been thought about 6 months in that would have done well, as opposed to, like, the 6 day picks, because I can guarantee you, if this was done twice a year, we'd see more, we'd see more we'd see more games get into the categories they belong in, because, like I said, Liza P would have been perfect for this, but I think it's because it came out too late that it didn't make the cut. All right. All right. So we got Splatoon coming up with their holiday season event. I don't know if I'm gonna read that one. I doubt I am. I think I'm just gonna pass it up. But Sandland game shows up. Okay, so not that. I don't read Fortnite. Alright, this is a story I want to read, because there's a lot of complaints about Modern Warfare 3 going on right now. And it's because it looks like DLC for the other Call of Duty games. Modern Warfare 3 Twitch viewership way down compared to other Call of Duty games. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 Twitch viewership has marked one of the weakest debuts for a COD game on its platform since 2019. Despite the expectations for Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3, the viewership for the latest installment in the series falls significantly behind the viewership of the previous franchise installments. Modern Warfare 3 has received negative reviews since its release, with players expressing complaints and disappointment despite its improved gameplay. Call of Duty is is an extremely popular franchise with storied history of delivering first-person shooters. The previous Modern Warfare installment provides to be a success, raising concerns amongst fans about the current state of Modern Warfare 3, unable to measure up to the franchise standards as illustrated by its Twitch viewership members. I'm not the only one who agrees with this. And my thing is, as I've been saying this about Modern Warfare for a long time, Call of Duty, it it's not as great as it once was. Okay, when Call of Duty first hit the scene back in, like, how do I want to say this? I want to say, like, a big time period was when the, like, 360 was out. Okay, I remember watching TV and just seeing Call of Duty ads on TV, and all I could think about, because I've never been into Call of Duty. I tried it once and I'm like, it is what it is. It's like every other first person shooter out there that, like, it just feels too familiar for me. That's why I'm not just hopping on to the game anymore. I never actually did. I would play Halo. I would go in and play Halo then over this, okay? But Call of Duty is one of those games that, like, it's so they've done it enough times to the point where maybe they've just come to this point where they've run out of all these ideas. You know, this year alone is the first year I've actually seen people complain about these games. And it's because when you sit there and look at it, you can look at a vast majority of them, they all look the same. But everybody's at the point now where, okay, it looks the same. Maybe it is the same game, and maybe we're just not, maybe we just haven't been aware of it. And maybe people right now are finally being like, well, at this point, well, I've played this game before. I don't really want to play it again. I think it's time. I think it's, I think we finally speak up about this because we're getting the same game like every year. Especially because this looks very much like DLC. A lot of people have stated this game looks exactly like DLC. Which leaves me to question, has, has Activision finally run out of ideas for Call of Duty? Because I'm seeing things like skins go into the game. I'm seeing literal stuff go into these games that doesn't make it anywhere different than the last one. And maybe people are just now realizing that, hey, we're getting the same game every year. Maybe it's time we finally spoke up about this and asked for something and made a big deal about it. Because, they tried a couple of times where they took the game and tried to make it into something else, and it didn't work. I remember back when they tried to make it futuristic and put robots in it, it didn't work for them. Now they're dealing with something else now where the game looks too similar to DLC, looks too similar to the last one, and it's really getting to the point where, okay, has Call of Duty finally met its match? Because I think going non-stop where you have games consistently selling and doing well, there's going to be points and times where your games aren't going to do well. And this is one of those factors where, like, it just didn't do as great as it did. And now we're going to go look at this chart here in a second, but I'm going to read what this says first. As reported by Stream Charts, Modern Warfare 3 is currently holding the fourth spot in Twitch viewership, trailing behind GTA 5, Fortnite, and League of Legends. Since Modern Warfare 3 launched on November 10th, the game has accumulated 15 million hours watched and is currently more watched than Valorant or World of Warcraft. However, its day one viewership is the lowest for Call of Duty release since 2019, receiving 3.3 million hours watched on its debut. So, as you can see right here, just the viewership isn't as good as it once was, and it's because this is the same exact game we get every single year. There's nothing different about these games when they come out. Why do we have two of them on there? Okay, so we have Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 and Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3. Warfare 2. Okay, so when you sit there and look at everything, Call of Duty isn't doing as good as it used to because we've seen it all. We've seen everything you can put into a game. You come out with the game every single year and doing the same thing every single year. It's like putting out a sports game every single year. You're getting nothing new out of it, but people buy those up like incredibly insane amounts. All right. So, I think it's time that these guys took a break from bringing out these Call of Duty games every year and left it go for a little bit, and then released one like a couple years down the road to be like, okay, we're bringing the franchise back. Because I used to work with people that literally they played Call of Duty Cold War, and they were trying to get me in on that shit. And I'm like, I've played it before. I don't really care about it. And people were actually getting mad at me because they didn't want to play Call of Duty. People were actually getting, like, mad at me for not wanting to play it. And it's because Call of Duty has been the same game for like 20 years straight. Nothing new has come out with this game. You go on for 20 years straight, you're going to lose touch after a while. You're going to start bringing out games that are the same thing as they were before. And, to bring this out every single year is saying something when it starts to drop down like that. It just goes to show you that people are starting to get tired of this, and it's pretty obvious now that people are tired of it. I've been tired of it for a while. In a comparative analysis of the last 5 Call of Duty releases, Modern Warfare 3 stands out for its underwhelming perception. Despite stable viewership, it falls short of nothing of setting new records for the series. Black Ops Cold War, released in 2020, nearly doubled Modern Warfare 3, a day one viewership with 6.5 million hours watched. Even the predecessor, Modern Warfare 2, garnered more attention with 5.3 million hours watched on its launch day. Numbers that seem to showcase players' discontent with Modern Warfare 3. It is worth nothing that Modern Warfare 3 is the worst rated game in Call of Duty history. Criticism of the campaign could be a key factor in the subdued Twitch performance. Fans have experienced disappointment labeling the campaign in an uninspired, lacking direction, and extremely short 4-hour in length. The negative sentiments might have contributed to the game's struggle to generate substantial viewership, especially in comparison to its predecessors. Modern Warfare 3 is a failure to set new records or surpass previous installments, shed light on the current state of game as Modern Warfare 3 grapples with criticism and subdued Twitch viewership. Its journey post-release is poised to be an uphill battle. Whether the developers can address the concerns raised by the community and rejuvenate interest in the game remains to be seen. By the initial response suggests a challenging landscape for latest installments in the iconic Call of Duty franchise. Again, people are tired of Call of Duty at this point. I don't know what to say, but like, people are just tired of this game. This game literally has had, this game literally has had its run, its greatest run in the past, and it's time to just probably retire the whole franchise for a little while, and then come back and start re-releasing the series over again, and you could probably do extremely well. I'm sure if you went and you remastered the first few games, put them all onto one disc, people would have a blast with that. I think that's what they should do. If they really want this game to, like, come up again and do well, take your first few games from the Call of Duty franchise, put them onto one disc, one cartridge, remaster them, and bring those out so people can play them. Don't keep bringing out new games, because new ideas sometimes don't work. You have the idea that was already going, and you're in 20 years later, and you're like, okay, we need to bring out another game. Let's make a new game, but it's the same exact thing as last time, and let's make. No, nobody wants that anymore. Everybody's tired of that. Everybody's tired at this point of Call of Duty, and it's proven that even before I said I was tired, I've been tired of Call of Duty for like fucking years now. Like, for good 5 fucking years now. I was like, man, this trilogy's still going on like this? Like, in each trilogy, each series has its downfall. And that's the thing, is like, maybe you might want to consider taking a break from doing any more types of Call of Duty games before you go on with the next one. Or maybe you might want to just consider going back and remastering the very first few games and releasing those. Just some stuff to think about. So, because you guys had a hit on your hands forever, and then this year alone has showed that people were just bored with it. People are bored with it, and people don't want to. People aren't like into playing the games anymore. And it's like you can't keep having a good game every single year. Is what I'm saying. The day Call of Duty releases is the day. Every single year, Call of Duty releases, and you got that group of people that are just Call of Duty. Call of Duty, bro. Call of Duty. Like, it's like, can you shut up? Can you shut up? It's the same game as it was last year, okay? And that's why, like, it really just draws me away. Now, there's some people I watch that play Call of Duty, but I would probably will never play Call of Duty myself because Call of Duty is just, it's too many people are on the bandwagon for that game. Call of Duty is just one of those games that, like, people go out and they are like, they think that's the, most Call of Duty players think that that's like the only game that exists. I don't know where that comes from. I don't know why they think that that's the only game that exists. Because I've literally talked to people who played Call of Duty and they were in like some sort of like really fucking bizarre trance about thinking how Call of Duty is like this only game that exists. When reality, the truth is, there are so many other great games out there. Call of Duty might be great to people, but like it's never been a great trilogy to me. It's something that I've never thought about picking up. I had one Call of Duty game down here, and I traded it off for Skate 3, fortunately, because I'm not into Call of Duty. I don't like the Call of Duty franchise. It's not something I want to play. And there's reasons I don't want to play it is because it's boring and overrated. And that's what I'm kind of glad people are starting to see now. Alright. What is going on here? One of these sites. And is Game Rant like literally doing this to me? Let's see if I click on something else. Are they really gonna start like making me sign up for emails and stuff like that? Yep. Alright, so give me a second. I don't know why Game Rant just decided to do that. Alright, we're gonna... Alright, so... I don't really know why they want you to sign in with the web email address, but hey. So, okay, I have an account. I didn't know that. Alright. So, you can go back to the Mortal Kombat 1 thing. Alright. Mortal Kombat 1 releases new update for November 2023. NetherRealm Studios has rolled out another Mortal Kombat 1 update on November 15th. The game's second patch of the month arrives less than a week after the massive update that introduced a double-digit number of fixes targeting the Mortal Kombat 1 invasion mode, as well as dozens of character specifications adjustments and some balancing tweaks, among other things. The latest entry in the iconic fighting franchise was released for PC and console in mid-September. Since then, NetherRealm put out 9 Mortal Kombat updates in total, although some of them were only targeting individual platforms. That's not the case with the game's 10th overall patch, which just reached both PC and console, although the new update has yet to be mentioned on the official Mortal Kombat 1 website. WB Games supports page already contains a succinct changelog to accompany this release. According to those patch notes, which are also available in the game itself, the November 15th update adds a new Thanksgiving fatality in the game premium store. The disgusting Mortal Kombat 1 fatality already leaked online last week. I like how they're the disgusting Mortal Kombat 1 fatality. Okay. The Thanksgiving finisher qualifies as a season fatality of which players can only have one equipped at a time. However, the animation might not yet properly trigger even when selected. That's according to a Reddit user, Y2KG, who already tried using the fatality on Xbox Series X. Speaking of which, it would appear that November 15th update is a bit larger on Microsoft's current generation console than its PlayStation rival, weighing in at approximately 1.6 gigabytes. And while that's more than twice the size of a PS5 counterpart, it's nothing compared to the 83 gigabytes Mortal Kombat update that Steam users reportedly have to download, thus basically being forced to reinstall the entire game. Nintendo Switch owners are in a similar boat as they now have to re-download 27 gigabytes of their 35. That's rough. I'm sorry, that's rough. The new changelog also mentions DLC characters being added to the player select, which sounds like a fix for a visual glitch that displayed a padlock above the portrait of Omni-Man even after he had his polarizing debut in Mortal Kombat 1. Furthermore, the patch introduces new seasonal invasion content as well as multiple bug fixes that are yet to be treated to more meaningful description. Most previous update for Mortal Kombat 1 were released a few days ahead of their detailed changelogs. The same will ostensibly be the case with this mid-November update as well. So there's that. Alright. Sega responds to acquisition rumors. In response to rumors surrounding the acquisition of Sega, Chief Operating Officer Seiju Utsumi denied that the company was looking for a buyer and shut down any speculation that Microsoft was to acquire them. Utsumi then added that Sega was instead focused on bringing its IP to other platforms as well as buying out companies on its own, such as Revio. Rumors have been long circulated about Microsoft acquisition Microsoft acquiring Sega, and some discussion sprang up as far back as nearly 2000s at the time. Some rumors fluttered about the original Xbox compatibility with Dreamcast games after the latter console demise, though the talks fell through. Sega eventually became the third-party developer it is today, with plenty of titles on the Xbox family of systems and Xbox Game Pass, such as Like a Dragon and Persona series. While other companies have been amicable to another over the years, Sega has long prided itself on being a major developer and IP owner. A CNBC interview that was reported by Dexterio further emphasized Sega disinterest in being brought out by Microsoft anytime soon. Utsumi said that the following success of both Sonic the Hedgehog movies at the box office, Sega is instead looking towards bringing more of its properties to different platforms and reaching more audiences. The news came nearly a month after Microsoft completed its acquisition of Activision Blizzard for $68.7 billion. The buyout concluded a long Sega saga that was the deal scrutinized by global regulators. Microsoft spinning off the streaming distribution rights to Ubisoft in the UK as part of the deal. In June 2023, during the Activision buyout litigations, some leaked the FTC internal documents pointed towards Microsoft's potentially buying Sega and Bungie as far back as 2020. These documents contained contents from an email that Xbox lead Phil Spencer sent to Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella and CFO Amy Hood, while Bungie ended up being acquired by Sony for $63.6 billion in July 2022. Sega still maintained independence and continued to bring games to the market. With titles such as Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth, and Persona 3 Reload on a docket for 2024 and impending Sonic the Hedgehog 3 movie, the company and its properties are showing no signs of slowing down anytime soon, but with no plans for being bought out in the foreseeable future, it remains to be seen which companies will fall under Sega's banner instead. Alright, so there's that. Xbox 2024 Xbox Game Pass release window narrowed down. Hold on, I want to check some stuff. Alright. Oh, wrong thing. Alright, now we can go back to this. Alright. So yeah, this right here. Replaced will finally reach Xbox Game Pass in the second half of 2024, as confirmed by newly emerged financial report. The stylish cyberpunk platformer was originally revealed at E3 2021. The first ever game, Minsk's Belarus based Sad Cat Studio, was initially targeted at 2022 release. However, Replaced was then delayed to 2023 due to the Russian invasion of Ukraine. Its second postponement was announced back in August 2023, when Sad Cat said that the game would slip into the following year. Thunderful Group, the partner company of the game's publisher Coat Sync, has now narrowed down that release window with its latest financial report revealing that Replaced plan to hit the market in the second half of 2024. Two more externally developed Thunderful projects, code-named Peach and Snowflake, should also reach the PC and console during this 6-month period, although it's unclear whether either will follow by Replaced footsteps and debut as one of the releases for Xbox Game Pass. The publisher is also planning to launch a new internally developed SteamWorld game for mobile devices in the second half of 2024, as per its newly shared roadmap. While repeated delays aren't exactly an encouraging sign, especially when it comes to debut titles from indie studios, Replaced is touted as a day one Xbox Game Pass title to watch in 2024. This is no small part thanks to its distinct art style that combines cyberpunk with beautiful shades, pixel art into a stylish visual package. The very premise of the game is no less promising, revolving around an AI trapped in a human body that's trying to adjust to its new existence in the middle of a dangerous retro-futuristic city. Between all that and gameplay loop that seeks to deliver engaging 2.5D platforming segment combined with free-flowing combat replaced shows a lot of promise. And while it's initially delayed was Sad Cat's reaction on the ongoing war in Ukraine, its second postponement was motivated by the studio's desire to keep refining the game in order to make sure it seems the online community expectations resulting from its first two trailers, aside from the last two generations of Xbox console and Xbox Game Pass replaced, will also launch on Steam. The game itself isn't the only interesting indie project that planned to debut on Microsoft's subscription service in the second half of 2024. The same description can be used for Vapor World Over the Mind, another day one title for Xbox Game Pass inspired by Sekiro and Bloodborne. Alright, so what the fuck? I love how I love how this trash right here is what they do to make people just look like they try to make the video game community just look like it's horrible. All right, and it just comes back to this idea of how like stupid society is. You can't blame anybody else but yourself for doing these actions of these things. And who the hell out there was the one? I kind of want to read this just because this is stupid. This doesn't happen, and this isn't even real. This is a made-up article that's such bullshit. But they'll sit there and fight it tooth and nail, being like, no, we're right because we're government. Alright. Nancy Pelosi's home invader says he was influenced by gaming YouTubers. Of course. Let's see who he mentions. Alright. The name who broke into the house of U.S. Congresswoman and former Speaker of the House of Nancy Pelosi is claiming in court that he is influenced by gaming personalities on YouTube, among other sources. David DePepe is currently on trial for the home invasion as well as assaulting Nancy Pelosi's husband with a hammer. And the attack, which DePepe has already confessed to in court, took place on October 28, 2022, shortly before the United States midterm elections. Okay, so again, we're seeing something here take place again. All right, November is always election season. All right, let's. So. All right, so when does election season start? This is the thing that I find funny is like this happened. All right, will take place on November 5th. This will be preceded by nominating content. Okay, so as you can see, it always takes place in November. Okay, what are we seeing? What are we seeing? Another repeated thing of. We're seeing this be repeated as last year. All right, right around the time of election. All right, so let me just bring that up. All right, shortly before the United States midterms elections. Okay, so right there. Took place on October 28th, 2022, shortly before the United States midterm elections. All right, again, you look at it and break it down. These are Congresswoman and Speaker of the House. Took place on October 28, 2022, shortly before the United States midterm election. So, this is an attempt for them to get votes. This is an attempt for people to get votes. This is why I don't really pay attention to this shit. This happened last year around the same exact time, and we're seeing it again pop up again in this year. So, like, my thing is like, this shit's stupid. This is all just an attempt for people to get into, like, voting and all that. I don't know what to think anymore. I seriously, like, I've been done with this shit for, like, a while. Alright. DePepe has claimed that he targeted Pelosi because he believed she was part of a grand conspiracy by evil forces against the country. This sounds like a delusional nutbag. Alright. The would-be attacker of Nancy Pelosi has been previously inspired by Gamergate, and based on his statement and past writing, he had to come to believe in a mashup of conspiracy theories that included elements of Pizzagate conspiracy, QAnon, I don't know, and Holocaust denial, and bizarre and radical ideas. Now it seems gaming YouTube has also been thrown into the mix. I'm not gonna stop doing YouTube. I'm not gonna stop doing games on YouTube. I hate to break it to you, but this is an attempt for us to like stop doing what we're doing. This is an attempt for people to just stop doing what they're doing, and it's completely stupid. All right. As reported by Equid, DePepe detested on the stand that YouTube videos about Gamergate were what first drew him into politics. Are you serious? You're gonna let... From there, it seemed he moved on to more explicitly political YouTubers and found himself exploring conspiracy theories that led to his radicalization, as he described spending hours every day playing video games while listening to right-wing podcasts. This is such a joke. Like, this is like one of the fucking... This article is a joke. This article is an absolute fucking joke. YouTube, as with social media, has become a home for many conspiracy theories and distributors and individuals. A few years ago, YouTube took steps to deal with 5G conspiracy theories on its platform, and there is no shortage of other theorists, ranging from flat earth believers to anti-vaccinated advocates. For those prone to radicalization and believing in conspiracies, it's very easy to find videos and posts that will feed their interest. It's also not uncommon for such individuals to draw many sources believing in many, sometimes contradictory theories at once. It appears that this is what has happened with DePepe, as evidenced by explanation that touches on numerous conspiracies involving a range of politicians, academics, and celebrities. Still, gamers are likely to be upset that their hobby is being connected to violent crimes. The American Psychologies Association has found no meaningful link between gaming and violence. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the best word said thing. But incidents like this can still cast the community a poor light. So, if psychology isn't finding a connection to this, this means this whole thing is a story that's set up to be fake for politicians to win elections. That's all this is. That's all this is. That's why I don't listen to this shit anymore, because this is the shit that will get you stuck in a loop, and you'll believe half the shit that's being said to you, fed to you, and all that. Like, that's why I don't like this kind of stuff. Some would argue that YouTube and gaming communities have become more political in recent years. In 2022, for example, YouTuber Dream had to deal with criticism for his political beliefs, and many others are choosing to expected to take a stand on many controversial issues. No doubt, many will want to respond to this news and distance themselves from the beliefs of actions of DePepe. So, what we have here is just we have this side of YouTube that has become political, like right here. I won't disagree with this. Like, see, the problem is people get caught up in politics. They get caught up in politics way too much, and then they take it and it gets twisted and turned into something more than it needs to be. And if I have time today, which I'm gonna check, I might actually end up putting a video out on the subject and being like and explain. It's gonna explain a lot as to why, like. So let me check right here to see, because I do want to make a video on this subject. I feel like this subject is a great example of why, like, people should stop paying attention to politics, stuff like that, because these are all just attempts for them to win elections. That's all they care about, is winning elections and getting our money. And I'm not gonna stop doing my hobby just because a bunch of political believers, like, ended up getting involved in this. There's a reason I stepped back from politics, and I knew I needed to step back from politics. Because what we're seeing here is an example of why you don't get involved in politics too much, especially when you're a gamer, because you're looked at very poorly. All right. So I don't have to work till 4 today, so I am going to make this video before I leave the house today. Um but all right. I'm going to get off here, and I'll be seeing you guys. Well, I got 5 minutes. So I'm going to talk before I go out. But this is exactly, ladies and gentlemen, why I stopped paying attention to politics. Because it's going to fill your head with this fear of, like, wanting to do your favorite hobby, which is gaming. All right? Politics should never be involved in our area or our hobbies. Like, politics should never be brought into those things. You like certain things, don't bring politics into it. You know? Leave the politics at the door and forget the rest. You know? And go and enjoy your hobby. Because we get this a lot, where these politicians, they tend to think that, well, there's a vast variety of people that play games, maybe we can get them to vote. And truth is, no, you're not going to get us to vote. You're not going to get me to vote. There's a bunch of other people in gaming that aren't planning on voting. And there's a reason we're not planning on voting, because we're not dumb. We know exactly what's going on. I see it all the time. I just don't vote because I think it's a completely stupid. I think it's a completely stupid thing to do, and I think people should really, like, I think people should really consider, you know, stop looking at this stuff, because this does cause a bit of a problem in a community of people such as myself and the rest of the world. Now, I'm not gonna sit there and, let politics rule my life anymore like I used to. There are times I catch myself getting off track, but if I can distract myself and get back to the way things were, and have a blast doing it, I'm gonna keep doing that, because this stuff right back here has changed my life. Like, and I know that sounds stupid to say, but when you're literally like in a spot where where you feel like you lost hope, and you find those things that, like, mean a lot to you, then you can see why I came to this route, which is gaming. Gaming took me away from, like, every aspect of the world and helped me feel better, along with, like, listening to the Bible and things like that. And I'm gonna go ahead and give a talk on my other channel real quick here in the near future, and I'm gonna talk about why this kind of stuff, you need to stay away from it as a gamer, and it's good for your mental health. So I'm gonna be doing that here today. But yeah, don't get yourself involved in politics. If you don't want to be mad about everything all the time, if you don't want to be stressed about everything all the time, if you don't want to see the world as they portray it as shambles, I suggest not even looking at it. Finding a different hobby, or finding something that's going to get you out of the mindset of the political standpoint and political views, is going to be more helpful, and you'll thank me later for even saying it to you. But I really think that me not looking at politics was for the best. Now, I'll listen to certain YouTubers and their opinions, but I am not trying to get wrapped up in the political genre of things again, because that right there, there's too much drama behind it, and it people get pissed off for God knows what, and that's my reason I stopped looking at politics so much, because I was getting pissed off about a bunch of stuff that I knew in my mind I can't even change. I can't change, and you won't be able to change it because you're not powerful enough to change what people's belief structure is on something, or you're not strong enough to change the way everybody else is gonna think. And you can only sit there all day long and talk about how you feel about stuff, but to get people to fully change their ideals and, just their belief structure on what a political system is, it's really mind-numbing when it comes down to it when you look at other people doing it. But all right, I'm out of here. Don't let gamers gets better of you gamers. We have to continue to enjoy our hobbies. If we don't enjoy our hobbies, we lean towards looking at trash like that all the time, and it's good not to. But all right, take it easy, and I'll be seeing you next time.